For a long time, I've done all of my long form writing, my book writing, really just my book writing in Scrivener. And it's been great. It was great on macOS. I was really happy. I was like ecstatic, over the moon when it came out for iPadOS. But as I've moved to, I guess it was even just iPad at the time, iOS, but as it's become iPadOS and I've seen what Scrivener is doing, I am disappointed, to be honest. And that's what we're going to talk about today. First thing that bugs me about Scrivener for iOS is Dropbox only sync. Now, I admit, when Scrivener first came out, iCloud has sucked. It was just nothing but problems. And I'm sure that iCloud for developers is not without its issues, but there are many applications that sync totally fine over lots of things with iCloud, like DevonThink and Keepit and Ulysses and Drafts and on and on and on. And those, in many ways, have the same features, not in one app, but the same features as Scrivener does. So that's the first thing that I want to see, is that Scrivener needs to stop using Dropbox, and it needs to embrace iCloud. It maybe needs to embrace, arbitrary file locations, so sync.com, whatever else tickles your fancy for file saving. We need that. Along with that, my goodness, it needs a better save setup than it has. This whole you've got to hit the sync button or you have to go back to the main project window, but only if you told it on first run that yes, I want you to update whenever I exit, then it'll sync. That's great, but how many times am I I want to work, and I'm waiting for, happen to be on slightly slow internet, and I'm waiting forever for things to update, for it to update the whole packet. I'm just sitting there looking at a modal, just, doing nothing, waiting, a couple minutes sometimes while it just goes to update. Scrivener, you need to fix how you save stuff. It's honestly just not wonderful. One of the things I love about Scrivener, I have loved about Scrivener, is that you could hold your writing and your research in the same app. Now, this was specific research towards the project you were working on. So I would do something like keep my research in DevonThink, and then when I wanted to build a book project, I'd go through and find it all and move it into Scrivener, not move it or copy it into Scrivener. And that was great, but on iOS, it's only okay. And it's only okay because you can't really easily navigate through your research, look at research on one side, and then look at your writing on the other. Scrivener does not support multi-window in iPadOS. It does have its own pseudo multi-window where you can make the navigation pane on the left a little bigger, and then you can say view things in the navigation. I think it's view as quick reference, which is okay. But then if I want to change references, or if I want to change, actually this goes better with some other writing, you're kind of at a loss. Unless it's in your recents up in the top right corner, you're just kind of at a loss and you can't do anything about it. You're just out of luck. You're stuck looking at what you have on screen. So that sucks. Scrivener needs to embrace multi-window, and it needs to do it soon. Unfortunately, I don't hold it a lot of hope, because Scrivener for iPadOS, Scrivener in general, the development is slow. It's just slow. Unfortunately, for most of these, I actually don't hold out much hope. Styles. Scrivener styles are okay. I guess I can live with it. I'd prefer to write in Markdown and then have a style sheet or something that, outputs my book how I want it in different formats, but styles. On iPadOS, you just can't kind of deal with them. I can't create a new style. I can't create a new thing to mark up a document and say, this is all block quote. Here's my new block quote style. Or at least with all my muddling, I've never been able to find a good way to do it. Can't import styles from a previous project, say, this is what I want my book to look like. Here's all my everything. It's not there. So that sucks. And honestly, the default font style is terrible. I don't know, it's so hard to read. It's so small. It's 12 points maybe, and maybe that was fine for paper, but oh my goodness, it's so bad. It's so small. I can't read anything at the beginning. Even with my reading glasses on, I can't read anything, and I need a 0.05 prescription, a 0.5, it's really tiny prescription, but I can't read anything in Scrivener. So it needs to do better with styles. It needs to do better with being able to set your default style. You can do it, but it feels always janky, and it never feels, even on macOS, whenever I work with styles, it never applied how I hope it is applied. I'm always going back and fixing things. So that sucks, and it needs to do better. And I know it does something with Markdown, but I haven't actually seen it done well in iPadOS. So that sucks. Exporting in Scrivener is not great, at least on iPadOS. I understand that, and I know because I've done it multiple times, that in macOS, you can export to multiple formats. There's a way to format, your project, put your different images in different spots, and you can go through your compile settings. So on macOS, I have never spent less than 2 or 3 days getting that right. And in iPadOS, you just kind of don't have any option. You get Word, PDF, and what is plain text? RTF, that's it. That you get 4. So I guess you can upload those to a lot of different sites. Like I could upload a Word file to Kindle, to Amazon. I could upload a Word file to Kobo. But that doesn't help me as I'm trying to sell them myself, sell books myself, to deliver that to readers how they should get it. Because I'd like to deliver PDF, Mobi, and EPUB, and only PDF is an option in Scrivener, and it needs to be better. I don't want to see this like crazy, like terrible style pain like you see in the macOS version. I'd love to see something closer to Vellum, and maybe that's a separate app, but I'd love to see something closer to vellum.pub for macOS on iPadOS that lets you export and format and just does a good job of producing your files. And you hit generate and just spits it all out for you really nicely. That's what we need to see in iPadOS, and I'd love it if Scrivener came closer. So now that I've complained a bit, is there really a good option outside of Scrivener? I know Matt Gemmell uses Ulysses, and I'm going to link to that in the show notes below in the description. He did a good series on the Ulysses site. If you search Matt Gemmell, that's Gemmel, then Ulysses, and you'll actually find this, how he does his novels. Now, that doesn't duplicate the research functionality that Scrivener has. And there's some power in that, in having it all in one shot in one spot. And there is no reason that I couldn't, keep my research in DevonThink, make a notebook for it, and, put everything in there that needs to be in there. Or in Keep It, or whatever tool you use. There's no reason I can't do that and have, multi-window that way, because Scrivener will allow that. Like I can have a window beside Scrivener and see them 2 up. That's fine. So I could do that, but I still almost want to see something together. If I was building one, I probably wouldn't build the research into the beginning. I'd say, hey, use Keep It, use something else. But I'd like to see that. So Matt Gemmell has an interesting one. He has some styles. You can read through his whole thing. It's a really good set of posts, actually. First one is on what he does, and the second one is on his exporting and just kind of finishing up his book projects. Really good, and he provides you with tools like his styles and stuff. So that's one option to do. And then you can write in Markdown. I don't love how Ulysses treats Markdown, though, especially the links when it puts it like the footnote style link. So if you don't know what that is, then I guess look it up. Now, even if you do use Ulysses, it only exports EPUB, and that is going to allow you to still upload to Kobo, to all the different book places, and get a finished product for your readers, but it's not going to give you a Mobi file for your readers are going to purchase directly from you. So that kind of puts it a step down for me. I'd love to see a Mobi, and there's ways to convert them online, but as I've done more research and tried them, they're okay. They're not spectacular. They're only okay. Now, my final word on Scrivener for iPadOS is that I was so excited when it came out. I think I wrote in 2012, a long time ago, that I was why won't it just come out for iPad? It's about time. At that point, you could get Scrivener for Mac to sync out to text files. You could edit the text files, and when you started up Scrivener on Mac, it would import it again and see your changes, which was the total kludge. But I was happy that there was something, and I want to like Scrivener because I've used it for so long, but it just doesn't feel like it's keeping up to date. It doesn't feel like it's a tool that I want to use now, like the tool that I look forward to writing in. It feels like I get in there, I'm like, oh, there's so much weight to this. There's so much burden that I just don't want to have. So I am probably going to be exploring some options with my current writing project. I'm writing about I don't know how many rules, we'll say 12, but it could be more, but the X number of rules to survive freelance life. I've been running my business for 10 years. I just want to share some of the stuff that I've learned over those 10 years. And so I don't want to digress into just looking for tools, but I'm going to look around a little bit. Ulysses is an option if I kept it just for book projects. I can probably live with the Markdown then, and I might just go Matt Gemmell's route, and I would keep my research solely in a different tool. Keep It, DevonThink, your choice. I use DevonThink right now, but even that, their iPadOS is eh. So those are your options. Scrivener was my best long-form writing tool, and I'm not sure it still can hold that crown, simply because they're not keeping up with where iPadOS is now. Thanks for watching. If you like the show, give me a like. If you love the show, you can subscribe. Never hit that bell notification thing, because honestly, you have better things to do than just be disturbed every time I decide to put out a video. If you want to support me, you can go to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale, and you can support me there. Every time I get more supporters, it lets me do more videos, look into more content, and just spend more time doing this for you so you can get what you want. Have a good one.